It's been a busy week with the arrival of the creation kit, and I've got a lot of mods to show you, including some high-tech gadgets, a nice place to live, and explosions. Welcome to episode 22 of the Fallout 4 Mod Vault. Do you like explosions, but feel that somehow they lack flavor? Well, have no fear, because with a mod called Elemental Missile Launcher, you can have plasma missiles. You can have pulse missiles. Really good against robots. My personal preference? Cryo missiles. Yes, they actually freeze people, slow them down, and, well, they look pretty. It's pretty explosions. Oh, good grief. And there's even a nuka missile, which is a tiny bit overpowered. In general, apart from the nuka round, it all looks pretty balanced. The cryo rounds do less damage, but obviously you get the freeze effect. The pulse rounds do a lot less damage, but they do a little energy damage, and of course do much more damage on robots. The plasma rounds do more damage all round, so that is a bit of an upgrade, although not a massive one. The nuka rounds are overpowered. They do radiation damage, but they do a massive amount of base damage. And of course they're still using missiles as the ammo, not mini nukes. The requirements are actually pretty good as well. You will require gun nut and various ranks in science depending on which round you wish to make. When this mod first came out, it was actually called Cryo Missile, and that's all it added, just cryo missiles. And I already had decided I was going to cover the mod because I love that idea. But since then, he's obviously added these new types of elemental damage, and this shows he is active, so perhaps we're going to see even more effects. I actually think this mod is very, very underrated. I think it's slipped under the radar somehow, because I think it's actually quite reasonable. Cryo rounds, pulse rounds, plasma grenades, all of these things exist in the game, and apart from the nuka round, it's all pretty well balanced. It feels perfectly reasonable, and, well, if you're doing an explosives heavy playthrough, it really does add a little bit of flavour. You're going to be able to take a couple of different rocket launchers if you can carry them, you know, one for each situation. And, well, honestly, I'm just loving it. For all the advanced technology that is lying around the Commonwealth, there is a distinct lack of any optical technology. Sure, you've got things like the night vision scope on certain weapons, and of course there is the targeting heads-up display mod for power armor, which basically makes anything that is living or robotic glow in red. But apart from that, there are not a lot of other options. If you're not into power armor and you don't want to use a scoped weapon to see in the dark, you pretty much have to rely on something as simple as sunglasses, which apparently still improve your perception even at night. But with a mod called Westtech Tactical Optics, all that changes. You now have two new items. There is a set of tactical goggles which have that very standard night vision goggle look. They look rugged, they look tough, functional, and have a very Splinter Cell-esque vibe. And you also have the tactical eyepiece, which has a far more futuristic, slightly cyborg look to it. Both items are classified as eyewear and can be worn with most hats. There may be some clipping with the larger unit, but it's not that noticeable. And as you can see, you can actually get different colour glows on the optics to give you, basically a different vibe. However, that colour is actually indicative of the type of unit you're using, because both of these items can be upgraded to provide a variety of different optical effects, including night vision, which is pretty self-explanatory, thermal vision, which is similar to the night vision except it has a red tint and will highlight any living or robotic creatures, and targeting heads-up display. So if you don't want the red effect but you still want to be able to detect enemies and friends alike, you can do so. You need to craft both items and they will require level 1 armor and science. Once you've crafted the item, you can modify it at the armor bench and of course give it night vision, targeting heads-up display, thermal vision, or cosmetic versions of those three. What that does is it will give you the green glow for night vision without actually giving you the night vision effect. That's if you just want the item for the look. There is also a miscellaneous add-on section that will let you add the recon sensor or the VATS matrix overlay, and this is a really nice addition because these are the sort of things that are really cool on your power armor, but if you're not doing a power armor playthrough, it's kind of annoying that you will never have access to either of these mods. And believe it or not, you can actually change the colour of the unit if you so desire. In summary, the mod gives you two great items that really do fit the game world very well. They look great, the models are really well done, and it gives you functionality that is useful. And if you're trying to do a high-tech playthrough but you don't want to use power armor, maybe you're doing a high-tech stealth playthrough, these items are going to be perfect for you. This is my legendary 10mm explosive pistol with a blue laser sight. It also has a bayonet, even though it has a muzzle. But even better than that, it has a tactical flashlight. This is my combat shotgun with a muzzle, a bayonet, a red laser sight, and a red tactical flashlight. And of course, my favourite colour for my favourite weapon, the 50 caliber sniper rifle with a green laser sight and yes, a green tactical flashlight. This doesn't have a bayonet option, but really does it need one? This is all made possible with a mod called Tactical Weapon Mods, which adds a few extra modding slots to, well, most of the weapons in the game I've found. So for example, this is my 10mm pistol. It is an auto pistol, it's legendary and it's upgraded as much as it possibly could be, but there are now 3 new slots. One of them allows you to put a bayonet on as well as a muzzle brake, and in fact even if you put a suppressor on it, you will still be able to put on a bayonet, although it does look a little strange as to how you're going to be hitting them with that bayonet with a silencer, because it is a little long. But I suppose you could be slashing them. And one of the options is for the laser sight and the other for the tactical light. I'm going to pick the blue maybe, or the bright. Let's pick the bright one. And you just mod it the exact same way as you would normally mod a weapon. And now you can actually see the tactical light on the side. And when I engage my Pip-Boy, wow, that is bright. When I engage my Pip-Boy, instead of getting a Pip-Boy light, I get a flashlight as if I were wearing a power armor helmet with a flashlight. The different coloured flashlights actually do work as different coloured flashlights. It's not just cosmetic in third person. Whatever you change the flashlight to, you will get that colour when you actually use the light. The bayonets vary from weapon to weapon, and they are designed to actually fit even if you install a muzzle. So if I put a compensator on or even a suppressor on this Gauss rifle, it will still stick out and I still can stab people with this weapon. And once you've got the bayonet attached, as you can see here, it attacks exactly as the normal bayonet would attack. So it behaves exactly as a normal bayonet, even though I have a muzzle on this weapon. The laser sights reduce the spread on the weapon, and they also increase accuracy whilst in VATS. However, they do reduce your stealth, which definitely makes sense and balances these quite a lot. However, there are a few issues I would like to draw your attention to, and I'm going to start with the laser sight itself. The beam looks like it's one of the standard laser beams and that it's been used as a laser pointer. But that doesn't quite work because, as you can see, there are some, well, flares. The beam is not uniform all the way up. And this would be okay if it moved, if it was dynamic, but because it's very, very stationary, it looks odd, it looks wrong. So I think the laser sight beams themselves need a new mesh, a new model that is far more uniform and perhaps a little thinner as well. I would also like to see a dot at whatever I'm looking at. However, I do appreciate that may be a little difficult to achieve, so I wouldn't expect that. But the model itself, it just looks a little messy, especially when in third person. But you can still notice the effect in third person as well. The other issue is with the flashlight itself. You've probably noticed when I'm switching between weapons, I'm turning the flashlight on and off. There is actually a reason for that. If I leave the flashlight on and then switch weapons, you notice the colour didn't change, even though each of these weapons has a different coloured flashlight. So it looks like that could do with a little attention. If I turn the flashlight off again, it does change to the correct colour. The other issue is when holstering a weapon with a flashlight. If I holster it with the flashlight out, you can see the flashlight is still on and pointing up at the ceiling for some reason. I'm not sure why up at the ceiling, and even if I turn it on and off, it remains like that. In fact, to fix this, I have to switch to a weapon that doesn't have a flashlight, as I've done there. Then I have to switch the flashlight off and then on again, and I now get my Pip-Boy light. It also has a similar effect if I switch from a weapon without the flashlight to a weapon with the flashlight. You'll notice my Pip-Boy is still on, the tactical flashlight is not. I have to turn it off and then back on to get the flashlight. So at the moment, if I wanted to use my Pip-Boy light, what I would have to do is turn the flashlight off, switch to a weapon that doesn't have the flashlight, and then put the Pip-Boy on. These sort of things should be able to be fixed. All that needs to happen is when you holster a weapon that has a flashlight, it switches the effect off or it detects it. But honestly, these issues are pretty minor. They wouldn't stop me from using the mod, and I think most of them can actually be fixed. Most of them could be cleared up, and I'm hoping the mod author keeps working at this mod because I really like this idea, especially the tactical lights, the tactical flashlights. I'm surprised how little attention this mod has got, and I hope the mod author does not get discouraged because, yeah, brilliant idea, something that actually makes perfect sense, and something I would like to see taken further. One of the things I really liked about the Wasteland Workshop DLC was the addition of non-electrical light sources. Under decorations, you had candles, which gave off a nice amount of light. You also had lanterns that could sit on the floor. You could even have gas lanterns, gas lampposts to put outside your house. And, of course, a wall sconce. And that's great, but somebody decided they wanted a lantern that could be hung on a wall and went off and made it. With wall lanterns, you can actually put oil lanterns onto any wall. However, you do find them under the electrical section. For some strange reason, they are under the electrical section. But what really impressed me about this mod was this little small feature. The fact that the two lanterns it has added give off varying amounts of light. So if I want something that's a little sedate, I can have that. Or if I want something that's a little brighter, I can also have that. That's a really nice touch, and it does allow you to decide what sort of lighting you want in each room. It's a very small thing, very simple mod, and I really like it. Apparently the next mod only exists because a YouTuber said it never would. It's a house mod, and the thinking was, now that we have settlement building, there is no need for a house mod, and this mod maker thought, I'm going to prove you wrong, and I'm glad she did, because it made me realise how bad I am at creating places that I would actually like to live. The mod is called Rockin Red Rocket, and it turns the gas station part of the Red Rocket settlement into a self-contained player home. My first thought when entering this particular player home was, oh my god, it's clean. It actually looks like the person who lives here has eyeballs and opposable thumbs. They've cleaned up. It really is such an unusual sight in the Commonwealth. My second thought was, she has made amazing use of the available space. The actual interior is the exact same size as the Red Rocket gas station. It has not been expanded, and yet it feels like it has a lot of room. The way she's used it, she's managed to place a lot of things in here and make it feel like a real home and not feel cramped. Now, most of the items cannot be moved, which is probably for the best because I'd almost certainly knock them all over, but there are a lot of things you can interact with. A radio, there are storage places, and the storage places look really good actually. The weapons is, well, it's a big bin filled to the brim with weapons as if it was an umbrella stand. The wardrobe has clothes hanging and stored. It's all very cool looking and totally functional. You can store whatever items you want in this area. You've got a refrigerator and, well, pretty much everything you would expect in a player home. There is a power armor repair bench, and of course the repair benches for armor and weapons. And don't worry, there is a chemistry station, although it took me a while to find it. It is tucked away in a corner, which is actually pretty cool. The crafting stations share an inventory with the Red Rocket settlement outside, and so whatever you place in here will be available outside. And if you've got supply lines set up with the Red Rocket, you will be able to use all of the junk items when you're doing your crafting, which is really, really useful. Now, whilst the mod does share an inventory with the settlement outside, this area does not classify as a settlement. You cannot build inside here, and your settlers will not walk inside, which is actually a good thing. In all other ways, the settlement continues to act as a settlement. You can attract settlers. I did try. You can build beds for them and have a thriving settlement here. It's just that right in the middle of it will be a private little player home that nobody but you can enter. This mod really did make me realise how much I missed having my own little personal space. Settlements are great, but having your own home that you know is just for you, it's a really great thing. And this mod does it exceptionally well. I love the layout, I loved the convenience, and all round, if you are looking for a place to store your gear and know it will still be there when you come back, but want the convenience of being connected to a settlement, try this one out. Well, that is about all we have time for this week. I would just like to apologise for missing last week's episode. I'm sure you all realise now why. I was, of course, busy creating a new mod with another mod maker called My Good Eye, which we have released onto the Nexus already. I will leave a link to that down below if you would like to check it out. I'm going to continue to create mods, but I will try not to let it interfere with the video creating process, so hopefully no more missed episodes. You can probably see I am ending, as always, with some screenshots that you guys have been posting, even though I didn't post a video. So a big thank you to everybody who continued to upload these images. They're absolutely superb, and I really do appreciate all your effort. If you want to submit an image for me to use in one of my videos, I will leave a link down below to a video that shows you exactly how you can do that, and let me thank you in advance for doing so. I'll be back next week with a lot more great mods to show you, and I would love it if you could join me for that. I look forward to seeing you there, and until then, remember, as always, have fun. If you're curious as to whether I've covered a mod in one of my videos, feel free to go along to my website gophersvids.com and check the search functionality out. Just type the name of the mod you're interested in, open up the settings and filter by mods only. Click for search and you will see whether or not I've covered that mod. Click on the mod and it will also show you any of the videos this mod appears in.